Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Race Course, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Thursday morning, Thursday of week number 4 up here at Saratoga. I will reiterate, a gorgeous day up here. So if you're thinking about coming to the track, solidify the plans. Really nice day up here today. Yesterday was gorgeous as well. Coming up a little bit later on, Mike Welsch will join us. We'll do a little recap from some of the action last weekend and get some thoughts there, but also look forward to what's coming up with Mike. That's coming up in a few. After that, happy to be joined by Jack Knowlton. 2 weeks from yesterday, nice Funny Cide event coming up at Ciro's. We'll talk a little bit about that. Remember Funny Cide and beyond with Jack Knowlton. But I talk about it all the time. Low Rollers Contest. That's today, Thursdays and Sundays up here at Saratoga. Great way to kind of roll into contest play. Inexpensive. It's a lot of fun. I talk about it all the time. And so I thought, let's get the low roller boys in here. Ray Howell next to me on the far end, Jay Connelly. They man the booth. Good morning.
Thanks, Seth.
Happy to have you on board.
Yeah, listen, hey, it's awesome. Thanks for having us here. I really appreciate it. Are we eligible for like a daytime Emmy for this?
Yes,
okay.
Oh, absolutely.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah,
so,
no, mark your calendar. Keep a day free.
Yeah,
I was excited for the hair, which didn't end up happening. And
yeah,
Ray was
with the hair
excited
and
for
makeup, we thought for sure that we would be in the trailer.
Hair and makeup. Come on.
You know.
There is. Yeah,
we came here early just in case, so
there is clearly.
Hey, can you do a quick shout out before we start?
Absolutely.
I want to thank Donnie Nelson, who Donnie is the heart and soul of the Low Rollers Contest. Donnie really brought it on track and it has been facilitating it for years. You know, it involves like tote, TV, IT. Everyone has to get involved in it, so he's been great. And also Don Scott for NYRA Marketing. Don's been super supportive of the contest as well. So those guys have been instrumental every year about keeping this contest going. So I want to give a quick shout out.
I was going to, if you hadn't done it, I was going to toss in Donnie. I've known Donnie for years, and I know he's behind the contest play up here.
Yeah, and I remember the first year that he ran the contest, we were sort of buried in a breezeway.
That's right.
And I remember the first contest we ever ran, he was like, man, I really hope we get 25 people. And the contest has grown from there, so it's been great.
Yeah. It has grown from there. We'll talk a little bit about the popularity and whatnot. Why don't we start out with, I tout it all the time and explain it, but why don't we just start out explaining Low Rollers Thursdays and Sundays? How do people play?
Yeah, well, we alternate. You know, when people ask us, you know, what's this all about, which is probably the most frequently asked question. So we alternate. So it's your turn.
It's my turn.
Your turn.
All right, it's a $40 buy-in. 10 goes to the prize pool. That's what you're playing to win. And the other 30 you get immediately back on a contest wagering card. It's tied to the computer system as a contest card, so we can track the bets. And then the mission from there is pretty simple. You're making 5 $2 win play show bets. You pick the 5 races on the card, usually not including the last race, and you bet 5 single horses, $2 across the board. And you try and accumulate as much money as you can from there.
We just showed the booth there, and so where do people find you? I know I'm there all the time, but over by the 4-Star
Yeah, it's
Day.
right by the 4-Star Day Bar, adjacent to it, I guess you could say. And it's actually a great spot because it's a high traffic area.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so that spot there is, Jay and I spend a decent part of every day doing customer service because everyone asks us. One of the other frequently questions is, where do I get the thing, the list? And we know they're talking about the program. So, we'll send them in those directions or, where's the popcorn, those types of things. And so, yeah, it's a great location. It's right by the 4-Star Day Bar, centrally located. So it's a good spot.
So you can swing by there. And it's 5 races, but starting last year or a couple of years ago, the last race isn't included, correct?
Last race isn't included. That's when we pay out. And it's a cash payout. I think one of the benefits of the contest is there's no takeout on the prize pool, right? And I mean, like everybody out there chasing making money at the track, that has to be a very appealing thing. And we pay out cash at the end of the day. I always say, like, we stuff it in your pockets, like old school style.
Yeah. So not using the last race, we've actually, in the past, people have left the track for the day. Not using the last race, we have a much higher rate of actually reaching people and paying them before they leave.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we have to arrange payment, the following contest day. So it's a lot easier to pay out the same day.
And completely understandable. Although there are days where, like today, I have one in the last race. I'd love to.
Yesterday's last race would have been a nice contest for us too.
Yeah. And since it isn't the last race, if you work back 5 races from the next to last race, that's the last. So what I'm trying to make the point is, you don't have to enter before the first race. You can go.
No, you don't. You can enter as long as there are 5 races remaining in the contest. So if we are running 10 races, not using the last, the 5th race would be the last contest race. So a lot of players, what they'll do is they'll buy one entry, and if it's going cheap, they'll buy back in.
Oh,
so it's one of the strategies that they will use. Yeah, I mean, multiple entries actually is another strategy, because in any contest play, having more than one entry is beneficial. It gives you a chance to stay together and then split, maybe throw deep on one and be more conservative on the other. So people will buy back in at certain points, but just to be clear, you're allowed only up to 2 entries.
Okay. Yeah. The more I'm thinking, at first it sounded like a good idea. That may be too complicated. I like to just focus, because I also think about contest, because I play some other contests as well. And I think the multiple guys, wouldn't that be frustrating if you made the wrong pick? You're thinking, oh, I'm going to go over it. And the lower entry, you put and
wait, hold on, this is horse racing. Isn't it supposed to be frustrating?
Yeah, it's supposed to be frustrating.
Part of the reason we love it.
You're exactly right. We should note also, we've kind of alluded to it with the rules and whatnot, but at the end of the day, if you don't win the contest, you keep the money that's on the card.
Correct. Yeah. So if you have an okay day and you end up cutting back into your $30 investment and you only win 17, then you're out less for the day, right? You keep everything on the card. And sometimes it works the other way too. You could have a winner, right? We've had people come over to get paid and they win close to $1,000, and we're like, you're actually over $1,000. Don't forget, you've got money on the card.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So if it's a $40 buy-in, $30 live money, that's your money to keep in bet. So it's really only the $10 that you risk to the prize pool. So, we always shoot the magic number for us is like 200. If we have $2,000 in the prize pool, we know the winner's going to get $1,000 cash plus what they've made on the card. So it's really only the $10 that you're risking to the other players.
Yeah, I play. I love the contest. I recommend it to people all the time, and I have had people come up to me and say, "Hey, I tried it, and it really have a lot of fun." And if you haven't tried it yet, it is a lot of fun, and that's part of it. I consider myself, I want to obviously get one of the prizes, but I look at it, I beat the contest if I get more than my $40 back.
True.
Yeah. Plus, one of the things, like as a horse player, if there were 200 people in the contest, and let's say you finish 10th, and you don't wind up winning any of the prize money, you just beat 190 people. I mean, that has to have some certain level of satisfaction. Plus, I just want to also indicate that when you do in the contest, you do get this T-shirt. So this is actually what a lot of people are shooting for. Seth, I can't give this to you. You have to earn it. And I think it would be bad juju if I actually gave it to you.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so the T-shirt has to be won, and it only goes to the champion. And we've seen people at Breeders' Cup with the shirt on.
England Breeders' Cup wandering around with the Low Rollers T-shirt.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a sought-after item. It's more popular than the cooler bags on.
Well, then everybody on track knows that you took the contest.
Yeah, you scored. Yeah. Talk a little bit about the popularity, because as you say, it started and how many are you going to get when you went back years and years ago? But now I know when I go sign up, a lot of days there's a line standing at the booth and the list is going. Talk about how it's gaining popularity.
Yeah, I mean, 200 is our number, but we have been over 300 several times. Like most other things at the racetrack, it's weather dependent. So if we get a good day and the card's pretty good, we'll get 200 people. If the weather gets in the way, actually not even the weather, if the forecast gets in the way,
is probably
which is different than the weather up here, then that might impact the number of entries. So even at like 150, it's still a good number. It's still a decent payout. You're talking $700 or so in cash. So it's still a pretty good payout if we get, and we almost always get to that 150 number. So,
and I tout this as part of why to play it. You get in, and it's a low investment to get in, but it helps people wade into contests. And I think contest play has become a lot of fun and popular with people. And I also think it changes the way you handicap a little bit. It helps you look for value. Do you find people have done that, tried the low roller, and then wade into contests beyond that?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we used to have some people would come in like contest week, right? And they would play the low rollers as a warm up. But I don't know, the more I think about it, I don't think contest play is a whole lot different than your regular horse play, right? Like you just said, you're looking for value. And I think sometimes maybe your regular horse player is reticent to join a contest because they think that it's a whole different style of play. In fact, I've even heard our players say, well, the contest play is a lot different than what I'm doing with my horses, like in my regular bets. And I don't know if I agree with that, right? You're looking for value. You're looking for, you know, some understanding of how the public's going to bet the race and trying to expose that.
You still have to pick winners, too.
Yeah, and you still have to pick winners. Like, for me, I think the contest play can actually sharpen your play a little bit because then you're focused on a horse that you think can win and hopefully will hit the board. That's also going to offer value. It also forces you to find races where there might be weak favorites. And that's a skill that not a lot of horse players have, including myself sometimes. Like, oh, I'm going to chase value in this race. And there really isn't any. You know, and so it really sharpens and hones, I think, a player's skills.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Plus you're picking the race, too. So you do have the opportunity to look at the card in total and say, you know, these are the races I'm going to focus in on in terms of trying to pick my contest horse, you know, take a pass on a short field or, you know, really focus. So it does hone your decision-making skills.
That's one of the key things I do. When I start the contest, I sit down and look at the whole card and try to figure what my 5 races are going to be.
Right.
The 5 races that I think have the best opportunity of giving you a winner and maybe a winner with a little bit of value. So that's certainly one of the keys. And also one of the strategies of contest play is to see where you are on the leaderboard. Right down by you guys, there's a monitor that has the leaderboard, but you also have a QR code so people can pull it up on their phone.
Yeah, you can scan the QR code, and you know, as you know, you can bet at any self-service machine on track. So you're not glued to the booth. A lot of people do hang around the booth, which is fine, but you can go anywhere you want on track, use any terminal, scan the QR code, you have the leaderboard on your phone, and it's super convenient. You know, we've tried to find ways to make it as convenient as possible for everyone to play, and we love groups.
Love groups.
Groups of people that like to play against each other. Families,
oh, that's a great idea.
You know, Jay always likes to say, you know, you should play your girlfriend for dinner.
That's right.
You know,
head to head, winner buys dinner.
Winner buys dinner, you know. So one of the other things is, I don't know if you know this, horse racing people like to complain. Did you know that? They can be a little cynical. So we'll hear complaints about, they don't do anything for the $2 players, the small players. So this contest is for you. This is where it is a $2 wager. The rules are simple. It's a low buy-in. It's on track. It's cash only. I mean, everything is geared towards the $2 better. So it's something that people complain that they don't have, but we have it for you. We have it twice a week.
And everybody has fun.
Yeah, and everybody has fun.
I was going to ask you that. What's the feedback? Everybody I talk to has a great time.
They always come back. So once you play it, if you play it once, you really enjoy it. Obviously, if you win, you're going to come back more often, but most people that play it come back and play it again. We have regulars for...
Yeah, we probably have over 100 regulars.
You know. And we know them by name now, and we'll always say, like, you know, we haven't seen so-and-so. Hope he's okay.
Hope he's all right.
Hope he's all right. It's been, 10 months. So, and then we'll wait for them to make an appearance. And we know certain players come at certain points of the meet, and they'll hop in for those meets. So.
All right, let's wrap up the contest conversation, because when you guys sat down, I said, do you have any thoughts on the next couple of days? But again, I tout you to stop over Thursdays and Sundays, little roller contest. You'll have a lot of fun down in that 4-Star Dave area. But let's and again, we didn't want to give Thursday because you guys monitor the contest. So we didn't want to give.
Not giving out anything today, Seth.
No free tips today.
But we have some nice stakes coming up over the next couple of days, and let's get maybe something on the Saratoga Oaks tomorrow. Sure. I thought it was a fun race. The Jonathan Thomas runner, Sonanaya. I'm taking a total stab at that. I went in that direction, and then the Euro Aspen Grove underneath. What did you think in the Oaks?
I thought Elusive Princess.
Oh,
I lost my mic.
Yeah, you lost your mic.
This always happens in the contest booth too. He's always dropping his mic in there.
Oh,
Fish that out, right?
I got it.
All right, don't steal mine.
Go ahead.
Sorry you missed my incredible words of wisdom here, but Elusive Prince is probably the horse to beat. If I pronounce it correctly, Zajera, I think, is an interesting horse. I think Leperu does certain things well on the track, and I think he can be aggressive with a horse that likes to be forwardly placed. And if he does that, she might have a little bit of a pace advantage there. So that's where I'm leaning.
Yeah, Aspen Grove, I think, is cross-entered into Saturday. I'm not sure what she's going to do. I don't have any insight into that, but I thought this race really does go through the Euros. Elusive Princess and Caroline Street both faced Blue Rose Sen. That horse seemed really, really good over in Europe, and I thought the race probably goes through those two as far as like if you wanted to get narrow. Caroline Street has a U.S. sire. That's one of my favorite angles, like on Breeders' Cup Day, is to find horses with U.S. sires that are coming stateside to race here.
Is it working out for you?
Yeah, I think so. I don't keep stats on that.
What's with the European being named
good
Caroline
stuff.
Street? That doesn't seem right.
Right? I mean, that probably will get over bet just because of the name. And then the other one I would mention is Papaleo. Again, if I'm pronouncing that correctly,
I like that horse too.
Almost fell on her face at the start last out and really ran a good race.
Yeah,
So
I liked her in that race.
those are probably my three, and we'll see what Aspen Grove does.
Got to wrap it up. Just maybe some thoughts on the Whitney and, charge it off the big effort and the Suburban. I think is going to be interesting in there, but obviously Cody's Wish is the story. So thoughts on the Whitney?
Perfectly. I think we're all in agreement. I'm going to try beat Cody's Wish with Charge It. I think Charge It is proven at the distance, proven 2 turns. And really, if you look at Charge It's numbers, the numbers are there. I mean, maybe not as consistently, but the numbers are definitely there. So, and Cody's Wish will be more pace dependent, I think, than Charge It as well. So I think that's a good alternative.
Yeah, and I think it's important to discern, who you're rooting for can sometimes be different than who you're betting, right? So, like, I know I'll be rooting for Cody's Wish, but as far as a wagering standpoint, I think I like Charge It a little bit more from a wagering standpoint. Maybe White Barrio or Giant Game seem to have both run almost career best races last out. So maybe tinkering around with them underneath a little bit for me.
Just another great day, another great weekend of racing up here at Saratoga
5
as it
days,
continues.
2 days. Good.
Yeah. Part of the greatness of Saratoga, the low rollers contest. I tout it all the time.
Come on,
I guarantee you will have a lot
today.
of fun. And as I say, it rolls you into contest play. And I think you, again, hones your handicapping skills a little bit. There's the booth. It's over by the 4-Star Dave bar area. Ray Howell and Jay Connelly will be manning the booth, and we appreciate your manning the table here this morning.
Yeah, we're happy to do it, Seth. Once again, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
And we will be submitting this for the daytime Emmy. So
terrific. Yes,
we'll be in touch when they
keep in touch. You have my phone. So
all right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Mike Welsch from the Daily Racing Forum. Stay tuned.
Turn your love of racing into savings with equine discounts through the NTRA. Purchase through equine discounts and receive great savings on well-known brands like John Deere, Sherwin-Williams, Big Ass Fans, Farmers Insurance, and Office Depot. Join thousands of other equine members and support companies that give back to the sport we all love. Call 866-678-4289 or visit equinediscounts.com to start saving today.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. You'll get live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform, and best of all, you get track prices. CapitalOTBBet.com. Bet any place, anytime at CapitalOTBBet.com. And be sure to download our new mobile app from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Thursday morning. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to our friend Mike Welsch for joining us as well. Regular rotation here, Daily Racing Forum. Mike popping in this morning on what is typically a busy part of the day for Mike, because we always like to have him tout also the workout reports for the Daily Racing Forum when you stop in. Mike, good morning.
Good morning.
And speaking of workouts, when you sat down, you said you saw a relatively significant one this morning.
Yes, Arcangelo, not a work, but a very strong gallop today. I didn't know what to expect from him. Wasn't sure what his schedule was. I was sort of expecting him to work Saturday, which would have been 10 days after his last work. Instead, he came out earlier than usual today. Usually comes around 8:45, 9 o'clock. Today came out around 7, and with Jenner on the pony, and then kind of broke off. And I was watching him, and as I watched him, he got quicker and quicker, and you could see it wasn't a work. But so I put a watch on him the last 6 furlongs. He went in 1:24, way better than a 2-minute lick, and he just looked good coming by the wire. He's looked good on a regular basis since he's come back into serious training here at Saratoga after the Belmont, after being given a little bit of time off. So a good day for him today. I'm going to guess now he'll have one more serious work, but I'm just guessing. I don't know, but it was very impressive what I saw from him today.
See if we can separate out those 3-year-olds with the Travers, and then after that, the Pennsylvania Derby maybe as well.
I believe Mage is supposed to work on the main track tomorrow. He's been galloping on the main track the last few days, and I think that's what Dave Brenning said. If everything holds true, he will have a regular work tomorrow.
What was your takeaway from the Haskell for him?
I thought it was a terrific effort considering, his preparations. The connections came out and admitted he just wasn't 100%. So for him to run that well, I think was a great indication that, he's come out of the Derby and come out of his little rest to do out of the Preakness, excuse me. We'll see. He's had a couple of mornings here that he's just looked okay. Today he looked better galloping. Big work tomorrow for him, I would assume. So we'll see what happens.
Also, before we get to the action coming up tomorrow and Saturday, really nice stakes up here over the weekend. Wanted to get some thoughts back on last weekend. And first, we'll take a look at the stretch run to the Vanderbilt Elite Power. I like Gunite
Aaron in the mix too.
No shame, Gunite. I mean, this was some duel, and they both step out of it with a 108 buyer. But Bill Mott, happy birthday, Mr. Mott, gets it done with a nice stretch run from Elite
right
Power.
Here, you'd like to have about 100,000 on Gunite. I mean, it's hard to believe that at that point, a horse his quality got beat. So it's a tip of the hat to Elite Power. Again, they ran fast over the wet track, and for him to be able to make up that ground over a wet track, which was a question mark going in. Bill Mott said, I didn't know what to expect. He'd never run on a wet track before. He said maybe he was going to like it. Maybe he didn't. Maybe the result would have been different if it was a faster track. Maybe he would have beat him easier, but it's hard to imagine he would have run better than a 108 on a dry track too. So great performance for both of them, and we're going to see him back one more time if everything goes according to plan in the Forgo.
Yeah, and I was reading, I believe it was your follow-up article. Steve Asmussen kind of said he thinks the 7 furlongs may play into Gunite. We'll see how that works.
Yeah, he's looking forward to taking him on again. I mean, he realizes what a terrific horse that Elite Power is, but he's not shying away one bit. I mean, he thinks he could get the better of him next time. So we'll see.
And seeing Bill Mott in the winner's circle in your article mentioned a little celebration for him on the night as well. I think he gets a kick out of the birthday statistic as well.
Yeah, I think he does. He doesn't admit it too much, but I think it's kind of a thing now that everyone expects him to win on his birthday and to do it in a Grade 1 race. It's not the first time he's won a Grade 1 before on his birthday, but yeah, it was a pretty special day, and I know he was pretty happy. And Dave and I both saw him the next morning, and he was in a terrific mood. We had a nice long chat with Bill just about everything, not just about the race the day before or his birthday celebration. So he's got one terrific stable, and it's going to be on display again here Saturday, obviously in the big race.
Yeah, we'll hit on that in just a moment, but also wanted to go back to last week again, following up on the thoughts on Mage and the Haskell. Go Rocket Ride, it looks like is going to stick in Southern California, but Mage back, and will we sort things out in the Haskell? And maybe that was helped a little bit, the 3-year-old scene with the Jim Dandy last week with Forte. Had to work for it, however, but Forte does get the victory. Your thoughts on the Jim Dandy performance?
I mean, it was a great performance for him. I mean, a bit of a controversial race, obviously, with the bumping at the top of the stretch, and even again a little brush at the end. If you watch closely enough, what you see here, Irad kind of got to force his way out with a left-hand stick. He's going to bump, make some contact here, and then he gets clear of the one Brad Cox horse, and now he's got to take on Saudi Crown, who run a super race, game as can be. And if you watch the head-on, they do sort of brush a little bit before the wire, very small margin of victory. I could have certainly have understood why the stewards would have made a disqualification if they did, but they wound up leaving the numbers up. And, again, it makes for an interesting, precursor to the Travers as Forte moves forward to the next step.
You have any follow-up on Angel of Empire and what they plan for him? Because I liked Angel of Empire that day, and Jock came out and said the bumping kind of took the starch out of Angel of Empire a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I could have seen a disqualification. I mean, he didn't get beat more than 3/4 of a length, and he did lose a little bit of momentum when he got bumped. I'm not sure what Brad's got in mind moving forward. I didn't speak to him
because again, he had the second place finisher too, who ran well.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm going to guess both these horses will come back in the Travers, but I didn't speak to him. But it's going to make for one heck of a race in a couple of weeks.
Looking forward to it.
3 weeks. It's still 3 weeks away.
All right. Let's get some ideas coming up tomorrow and Saturday with some really nice stakes action. Tomorrow, National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame. I say it time and time again. I one of the subdivisions in racing I like quite a bit is the 3-year-olds on the turf. I'm going to take a little pop with Carl Spackler to bounce back because that maiden breaker, I mean, you're down at Gulfstream, that maiden breaker at Gulfstream seemed to tout Carl Spackler as one to watch. I'm going to look for the rebound off the poor performance last time. But I pulled up a replay going back to the Pat Day Mile, 2 starts back for General Jim. This one's on the dirt. The Woody Stevens was a little bit of a disappointment last time, but I just thought it was intriguing that Chug said, let's try the turf today this week with General Jim. So I have that one right underneath. I think it's kind of a fun race, the Hall of Fame. What did you see?
This is a head scratcher. I mean, you can make a case for almost all of them in here. You got 3 Chad Browns. I think Carl Spackler, I agree with you. Of the 3, I think he's the most interesting, although, hard to knock praise coming back. He ran second in the Grade 1 summer last year. 2 Mysterious Night, who's also in this race, came back with a terrific race against older horses last time, and Chad expects him to move forward. Carl Spackler, Chad said he didn't handle the grass in the American turf. Chad kind of thought none of his horses really handled that Churchill Downs turf course. He's kind of putting the line through most of their races there, moving forward here to Saratoga. But could have been more impressive in his maiden win the race before. Farbridge is now a Grade 1 winner. We know of his accomplishments coming out of that monster maiden race. So I like Carl Spackler a lot in here, but again, you can make a case more than looks. I mean, what can you say? He gets better with every start. Breaks slow, overcame it last time, ran a 94 buyer, which is the top last out buyer of anybody in here. Although I talked to Cherie DeVoe yesterday, and she admits she expects him to, but admits he's going to have to move forward again, probably. This is another jump up in class. You got the 2 European horses, Mysterious Night, one time in North America, ran off the screen at 3-5 in the Summer Stakes. Now, since then, his 2 races have not been that good. He shows up with blinkers on. I didn't see his work the other day over the Oklahoma training track, but I've watched him train over the dirt in the morning on a regular basis. He looks terrific. And he's probably going to – he might even be a little bit of a price just because it's coming in with pretty negative-looking form. But we'll see how the blinkers if it makes a difference. In general, Jim, I thought he's looked good on the turf working. Now, we know he can grass. I mean, he won 2 races on the turf, including one over this course last fall. So – he's very interesting here as well. So like I said, this is going to be a race you can make a case for just about everyone in here. Nagarok, too, for Graham Motion. Yeah. A game effort, finished third behind More Than Looks in the Manila, but got caught up in a speed duel early. I'm not sure you're going to see him use that same strategy here.
Yeah,
so
108 for the first 6.
I think you're going to see 4 or 5 pretty much within a length or so at the end of this one.
And I did not know what to do with Mysterious Night because, as you say, came over to Woodbine last year and ran away and hit in that nice every year Summer Stakes. But the 2 races since then, just I didn't know what to do with that when I left it out. But again, given what this horse did on the North American Invasion last year.
All I know is I see how he looks in the morning. He looks
Yeah.
terrific here. I did not get a glance at that work the other day. We were so busy on that morning that they were working everywhere. But we'll see. If he won, it's not going to shock me, anybody. Maybe a surprise to some.
Fun edition of
recent form.
The Hall of Fame tomorrow. Saturday, really nice stakes card, obviously on Whitney Day, but we'll kick things off with our discussion, Grade 1 test. I'm looking forward to this. Pretty Mischievous, who I think is at the head of this 3-year-old class, comes out of a win in the Acorn. Before that, won the Kentucky Oaks, 6 wins and 8 starts. She's in there. But Maple Leaf Mel for the coach, Bill Parcells, undefeated in 5 starts. And we're going to take a look at the victory ride at Belmont in early July. Maple Leaf Mel is going to be the number 5 horse here. Darth Vader, I think, off the close-up second in the Acorn to Pretty Mischievous, also intriguing. This just with those 3, particularly the top 2. Money's Gold, I didn't mention that one very fast as well. Interesting edition of the test. What do you see?
Yeah, Maple Leaf Mel's really going to get a test here, and this is it's going to be the ironclad test for her, especially with Money's Gold breaking right to her inside. I mean, both have the same style. Looks like they've got to get involved early on. There's some other speed in here as well. Should set things up for Pretty Mischievous and Darth Vader. The 2 horses turning back in distance off the Acorn. I like Darth Vader to maybe spring the upset in here because I think this horse is already proven at 7/8 of a mile, where Pretty Mischievous although she's won at 7/8 too, so I shouldn't say. But Darth Vader has always been I've been a big fan of hers. I mean, I loved her all winter at Gulfstream Park. I looked the day she won and paid $90. I bet on her that day because she had worked so well. So she's always going to have a spot in my heart. But they've changed her training style since she was down there. She used to work 58, 59. Now you see the work's a little slower. She went 59-3 last time, but the way she does it, she finishes up since George Weaver's gotten her. I think she's gotten better and better, more and more mature. So, again, it could come down to the trip here at the end and how this pace actually does set up. But I'm going to go on the limb and think, though, and it's not a big limb, but that Darth Vader maybe will be able to spring what would be a mild upset in here. She's not going to be 11-1 this time, or 20 or 46-1 this week.
I could see why she would be dear to your heart, though, after that victory. Saratoga Derby continues the 3-year-old turf series, kicked off with the Belmont Derby back in early July. The aforementioned Farbridge was the winner there. We'll take a look at that victory. Farbridge will be the number 5 horse. I liked Web Slinger that day. Ran a pretty good 4th. Nice closing effort for Mark Cassie. Program trading, very lightly raced for Chad and Klarovich, but maybe interesting. And then the Euros in here as well. What do you see in the Saratoga Derby?
Well, when you have the mix of the Euros and the U.S. horses, it's almost like trying to compare apples to oranges. You really don't know what you're dealing with. In some cases, Aspen Grove obviously came over and won the Belmont Oaks, and I guess she's going to run here against the boys, from what I'm hearing. The franchise, has gotten better with every start, and Lion of War looks like he could be competitive too. Not really sure what to make of this race. These are not my favorite kind of races when coming down to Benton. Farbridge just keeps getting better and better too. So a great race. I'm not really honing in on anybody in here. I'm just going to enjoy it and get ready for the big one.
It is a puzzle when you toss the Euros in, because, as you say, there was a point where you always went to the Euros. To me, the last few years that changed a little bit. Then last year, Charlie Appleby kind of brought that back to the forefront. We'll see how it works to us on Saturday. Saturday's highlight, the Grade 1 Whitney, $1 million up for grabs, mile and an eighth. I had to pull up the story horse. We'll look at the Met Mile here. It's going to be number 1, Cody's Wish, getting it done over Zandon. White Barrio finishes third. Charge It finishes fourth. Subsequently, Charge It wins the Suburban, so he'll take some action certainly. But your thoughts on what looks like a fun edition of the Whitney?
Yeah, well, Joe Hirsch told me a long time ago, we asked who he's rooting for in any race. He says he always roots for the best story, and we know who the best story is. And here, you got to root for Cody's Wish every single time he runs, and he wins every single time he runs, just about. Obviously, the big question is the distance, 2 turns. He shows 2 races on his form around 2 turns. He didn't win either of them. He's a lot better horse now than he was when he ran those 2 races. The way he won the Met Handicap, it'd be really tough to side against him no matter how far he went. But it looks like he should be able to get the mile and an eighth. Again, this is another race. You got a horse in here with some question marks. It's going to be 3 or 4 to 5. Hard to bet on, hard to bet against. Good race to watch. To me, if I was going to try to side against him with anybody, I think I'd try White Barrio. This horse looks like he's better than ever right now. He ran a big race behind Cody's Wish in the Met, despite not getting away real well. He had worked very well going into that race. Unfortunately, haven't got to see him work in a while because he's been at Belmont and I've been up here. But there's not a ton of pace in here. I could see him sitting pretty close to the lead. I'm guessing Giant Game's going to go to the lead. So he gets IRAD back on him for the second time. If I had to make a play at a little bit of a price to try to beat Cody's Wish, it would be White Barrio. But again, a stellar field, only 6 of them, but it's a good group, and all eyes on Cody's Wish.
Yeah, White Barrio hasn't quite lived up to what the hope was after the Holy Bull in the Florida Derby last year. But the 2 triple-digit buyers recently maybe say he's moving.
He had definitely tailed off, and I could see it in his training. He couldn't train much better than he did going into those 2 races. And I could see coming out of him, he wasn't quite the same horse, but he looks now. I saw some indications of it. While Safi still had him when he went up and won that allowance race at Gulfstream Park, he started to turn it around in the morning. The works I saw from him going into the Met Handicap at Belmont were like he had worked back before, like he was back on top of his game. His buyers are going in the right direction. He can obviously get the distance. So there's a lot to like about him. He just may not be good enough to beat Cody's Wish, and nobody else is either.
And I totally agree with the story part of it. We like to make money, but the stories are always a lot of fun too, and especially up here at Saratoga on the human side of things and the horse side of things as well. And there'll be a lot of stories over the next few days with some very good racing here at Saratoga. Covered quite a bit. Oh, and you mentioned Cody's Wish and Elite Power. As I was perusing DRF.com yesterday, headline Bill Mott focusing more on quality than quantity now, and with horses like that in the barn, you can understand.
Yeah, that was a great story Dave did on Bill. I was there when he interviewed him, and boy, he wrote it beautifully. He explained just how Bill has been thinking, and as he gets older, and his stable is where it is right now. It's as good as it gets. So a great job by Dave on that.
Yeah, it's always nice to win a meet title, but it's nice to win, a couple of grade 1s, 3 or 4 grade 1s in a meet, and with his barn. That is
like Bill said, been there, done that. He's won meet titles. Right now, he is concentrating on these kind of big races, and boy, he's won an awful lot of them just with those 2 horses alone over the last year or so.
Before we let you go, once again, we will tout the DRF workout report up here at Saratoga, in particular with the 2-year-old races and whatnot. A great asset to your handicapping. You'll find a little something maybe other folks don't have. And I know, you've noted during the meet horses that have come through and have shown good workouts. And so it is touting some nice winners up here.
Yeah, and as we move forward into the meet, there's going to be more and more of these 2-year-old races with horses that have just started to get ready to run and will be ready before the meet's over. So it seems like in the morning, 2/3 of our work, so a lot of mornings, are horses that haven't started yet. And the gate works are very important. Watch those as they're getting closer and closer to run. So we've got some maiden specials coming up this weekend. And again, I know down the road, there's some really special horses that we still haven't seen yet. So looking forward to that.
Very good. DRF.com. Check out the workout reports. Mike, as always, appreciate it. We'll talk again.
Looking forward to it.
All right, we'll take a break. He's in the house. Jack Knowlton. We'll talk a little Funny Cide, big event coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll remember his career. All of that right after this. Stay tuned.
Why just watch the races when you can be in the middle of the action? For nearly 20 years, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program has made thoroughbred ownership affordable for the everyday fan. Ownerships of 5 and 10% are now available on a nice selection of horses. As a partial owner with Bonaventure Stables, you'll enjoy all the benefits afforded every owner. Visit with your horse in the private stable area. Greet the trainers and jockeys in the paddock. And when your horse wins, savor the moment in the winner's circle at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, or wherever you bring home the prize. Based in historic Saratoga Springs, Bonaventure Stables has been training winners and creating memories since 2005. Learn more, see available horses, and meet our team at bonaventurestables.com.
Welcome back, and happy to be joined now, as promised before the break, joined by our friend Jack Knowlton, of course, Saratoga and Funny Cide. Unfortunately, the sad news recently, the Funny Cide had passed away, but coming up, there will be some events to remember his career and just how important he was to the fans overall, but certainly fans up here at Saratoga. Jack, good morning.
Good morning. It's great to be here. Lovely morning in Saratoga.
Absolutely. It's a gorgeous morning here at Saratoga. And again, I touted people a little bit earlier. Coming up 2 weeks from yesterday, there's an event coming up at Ciro's Wednesday, August. Kickoff at 6 p.m. It is the Funny Cide Saratoga Send-Off. If folks would like to participate, you can look for tickets at eventbrite.com. There's a search box there. Just type in Funny Cide when you get to Eventbrite, and you will be brought to the ticket area. That, again, is coming up on Wednesday the 16th. There will be guest appearances and remembrances of Funny Cide, and there's going to be a video highlighting his most important stakes victories. Tom Durkin will serve as the MC. Jose Santos, as you can see, Barkley and Robin will be there as well. And, of course, Jack representing the folks at Saratoga. Proceeds will benefit the Kentucky Horse Park. So looks like a fun evening coming up. And, Jack, talk a little bit about the evening. When you sat down, you said folks will have a great time because you've been working on the video already. And it looks like you can't miss with a career like Funny Cide.
No, and he really, other than being known as the Gutsy Gelding, as Tom Durkin named him as he crossed the finish line in the Derby, he really is a people's horse. And we started, after he won the Kentucky Derby, the city of Saratoga Springs had a party at Ciro's. I mean, and anybody was there can never forget it. And we said, let's go full circle. And the folks at Ciro's have just been wonderful. They're closing the indoor restaurant that night in order to host this event. So, I mean, when you do that, and we know they only have a few days to make the money at Ciro's, they're, all in on this and feel very positive about it. We have some great sponsors, one of which is Capital OTB, and we appreciate that very much. Folks from Kentucky Horse Park, they're going to come up and they're going to bring us trophies, which have been on display for the last 15 years down there. Nice. So they'll have them. We're going to have T-shirts, commemorative T-shirts that are going to be very limited edition. Anybody who buys one of the $100 premium tickets, they'll get one as part of their package. And a lot of the old Funny Cide memorabilia that we have. I brought things out of my basement. Dorothy's very happy that we're going to get rid of boxes of programs because after the 3 Triple Crown races in 2003, the track sent me all the programs that were left. Oh. So we're going to have signed copies available at a very, very modest price for people that are there. And all the money is going to go. Kentucky Horse Park wants to have a permanent statue, and this is going to kick off their fundraising effort to do that. And last but not least, Stewart's is bringing back the Funny Cide ice cream that was a rage in 2003. So, an awful lot of people are all in on this. They recognize what he did, not only for New York bred racing, but for Saratoga and for fans everywhere. I mean, it wasn't just a local or New York phenomena. He was a national figure. He had people from all over the country and all over the world for 15 years that had access to him at the Kentucky Horse Park. And that's very, very unusual. Usually, they go to be a stallion and nobody gets to see them, certainly in any big numbers. But he had probably tens of thousands of people that got close up and personal.
Yeah, as a gelding, he went to the horse park, and for folks who aren't familiar down there in Kentucky, you can visit the horse park. There's also Old Friends where you can visit some of those famous horses after they've gone into retirement. Funny Cide. I have talked to, since the news came out a couple of weeks ago, I've talked to a handful of people who, when they said I was in Kentucky, I went over to the horse park and said hello to Funny Cide.
Yeah. No, I get that all the time, and people have their stories. Not only about seeing him there, but when we brought him to Saratoga, and we had him up here and paraded him in the paddock, and because we wanted to make him accessible because we knew how popular he was, and that's why I think in addition to Gutsy Gelding, the People's Horse really fits him very well. And I know Michael Amo, of Thoroughfan has said that many times.
And let's just take a moment to briefly again go to the event and get the whole kind of recap of the career. But I had to bring up the Kentucky Derby. We'll watch the stretch run here. Funny Cide gets the victory over Empire Maker and Peace Rules, both of which went on to very nice careers themselves. After this, the Preakness, and I talked a little bit earlier on the handicapper support. 38 starts, 11 wins, $3.5 million. But the Kentucky Derby victory for a partnership like yours, just go back and remember how special this was.
Unbelievable to think that, with the horse that we paid $75,000 for, we could even get to the Kentucky Derby, be one of the magical 20. And there we were, he wins the Kentucky Derby. I mean, it was just mayhem. We had 53 people down there that, traveled in our yellow school bus to the track that day, and my life changed forever. And a lot of other lives changed forever. And, we, just relished that. We took over the top floor of the golf house and partied into the night. And I told my wife, Dorothy, I said, I'll believe it when I read it in the paper tomorrow morning. And they had a lot of cute lines in the papers the next day. No joke, it's Funny Cide, things like that. Great memories, and then we went on, and the Preakness was just even a better win for him, the best number he ever ran. 114
we were talking earlier about 114.
Yeah, and then the rains came at Belmont, and I tell everybody, go to my grave wondering what might have happened if we didn't get 5 inches of rain or whatever it was that day. But you got beat an excellent horse, Empire Maker, who had just beaten him in the Wood. But we won on the most important day. And, we'd been beaten by Peace Rules and Louisiana Derby. So both of those, the two Bobby Frankel horses that finished second and third, in the Derby, they'd both beaten us. But on that magical day, May 3rd of 2003, Funny Cide prevailed.
Yeah, and again, for a partnership like yours to get that done, and also, wins the Jockey Club Gold Cup in 2004. It was just a really special career, and you guys were part of the story, Saratoga, and just remember the partnership and how the partnership came together and wound up with Funny Cide.
Yeah, no, I mean Barclay Tag, and we had left. Prior trainer Tim Kelly, our horses weren't doing very well. Tim wasn't doing very well, and I made a phone call, and Barclay said we had two horses and they weren't very good New York breds. But Barclay said, "I'll take the two horses. I got two stalls at Belmont." So we went down. Gus and I went down on a Saturday, led the horses over to Barclay's barn, and a few horses later, Barclay is going down to Florida like he always does in the winter, and he stopped at Tony Everard's New Episode Training Center, and Tony said, I got a nice New York bred. I know you Saratoga guys like New York breds. And Tony had bought him at the Fezzik-Tipton New York bred sale that year, $22,000. And he said to Barclay, I want 50 for this horse. I think he's going to be a nice horse. But we didn't have the money. So then, Barclay goes back up there in December, and the price is up to $60,000. Finally, we had a horse that we had bought from one of Barclay's owners named Bail Money. And she was in a $62,500 claiming race at Gulfstream in March, and she finished as second, but she got claimed. So I called Barclay. I said, Barclay, we got the money. So Tony said, $75,000. Okay, let's buy it. So, you got to believe that it's fate. I'm sure I know there were other people that looked at him because Tony told us, and they didn't buy him. So we did, and, we came to Saratoga, and Jose Santos got on him one morning and told his agent, Mike Solito, I don't care what you do, don't let anybody else get on this horse. We were disappointed. He had a little shin, so we couldn't run at Saratoga, but then he started his career at Belmont. He had a 12-hole and a maiden special the Sunday after they went back to Belmont and won by, 15 lengths or something like that. And then he went to the Bonguard and won that. I think it was a stakes record time, and had the co-highest buyer speed figure of any 2-year-old. So there was a lot of pressure on Barclay to go to the Breeders' Cup. But, after the Bonguard, Barclay said to me, I think this horse just might be good enough to go on the Triple Crown Trail. And if we were to go to Chicago, he'd have to ship, he'd have to run against Open Company, and he'd have to go around 2 turns. That's asking too much. Let's be conservative. Let's go to the next New York bred race, which was the Sleepy Hollow, which he won narrowly. And that was a plan. We always knew that the Wood would be the race. If he was going to be good enough to go to the Derby, that he'd have to do well in. And he did. I think he ran 110 buyer speed figure that time. And Empire Maker just beat him. They said, oh, well, it would have been easy. We could have beaten him by a lot more. Well, they didn't in the Derby. So we got the last laugh on that one. And we were really happy about that.
Yeah, as I say, a spectacular career, 38 starts, 11 wins, 6 seconds, 8 thirds, $3.5 million for the Saratoga partnership. And just before we let you go, I had to add this, because how often does this happen? Small partnership, a group of friends get together. Again, you hear the serendipity to get the horse. They win the Derby, the Preakness, go on Jockey Club Gold Cup, $3.5 million. And then 20 years later, I have to pull it up right over here. 2020 Travers, we are going to watch number 6, 'Tis the Law, get it done. And how incredible is this, that you have 2 horses like this separated by that amount of time for, again, a partnership of your size, where you've had nice horses over the years, but then you put together one like this as well.
With New York breds.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the races we've won in New York is just incredible. I mean, the best 2-year-old New York bred races, the Champagne, Belmont, Travers, Jockey Gold Cup. Who can say that?
Yeah, it's incredible.
And Barkley is one of very few trainers that has won all 3 legs of the Triple Crown, not having won a Triple Crown. I mean, you know, Todd Pletcher hasn't done it. Chad Brown hasn't done it. I mean, Asmussen hasn't done it. I mean, it's incredible, the achievement with New York breds.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is absolutely incredible. And you've been with Barkley now this whole time. That's notable, too, for an ownership group to stick with somebody like that. And he's done well by you. And it's just been really an incredible ride for the Saratoga folks over the years. But again, coming up August 16th, 2 weeks from yesterday, right over here at Ciro's, as you say, things kind of started over there. Things wrapping up over there. August 16th, 6 p.m. Go to eventbrite.com. And then, as I say, go to the search box, type in Funny Cide. You'll find the info on the tickets. It looks like a lot of fun, and I'm sure you're looking forward to it.
We are. It's going to be a great night.
Yeah, and again, lots of memories. You also mentioned on New York Bread Day, there'll be some remembrances up here at Saratoga.
Yes, yep.
On track of Funny Cide as well.
Yep, day after Travers.
Yeah, very good. So we'll look forward to that also. But again, nice event coming up. 2 weeks from yesterday at Ciro's. Mark it on your calendar because I know I am speaking out there to an audience of Funny Cide fans. We all were and we all remain so. So keep that in mind. Jack, appreciate the visit.
Thank you. Enjoyed it very much.
All right, we'll wrap it up for this edition of Racing Across America. It is a gorgeous day. Again, reminder that we are planning to I'm planning to go over to the jockey basketball game a little bit later on today. So keep that in mind for benefiting the chaplaincy. That's at the rec center. I think it kicks off at 6:30 tonight. So keep that in mind for today. Low rollers. We had Ray and Jay on. Keep that in mind Thursdays and Sundays. That also plays into on the weekends at CapitolOTVBet.com. We have our own tournaments that are limited to folks in the New York OTB systems. So those are a lot of fun as well. So if you get started over here, you can branch out to those. Don't forget today's prize wheel day at the Clubhouse Racebook. So keep that in mind as well. I think I've got you caught up on everything that's coming up. It's Saratoga. There's always something going on, but a great day of racing is ahead as well. Enjoy that. Make a little money. We'll be back in tomorrow, 9 a.m. for the Handicappers Aboard, 10 a.m. for Racing Across America. See you then.
You've been watching Racing Across America. Racing Across America has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.